Radio Free Tatooine presents Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast.
Boshuda, fellow Holotable hustlers, you're tuned into Galactic War Report, a Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that's better than some and worse than others. I'm Sean, a.k.a. the other Sean, and sitting across the holotable from me is Josh, a.k.a. the Golden Pop-Tart.
So today I was playing some Red Dead Redemption 2, and I just keep on going back, and I was just thinking, why do I keep on thinking about Galactic War Report in this? And I remember I used to watch or actually listen to the podcast while I was playing. And it's funny because there's certain sections of the map where I can remember it. And then what's so funny was, and I got back to where it's like Mexico, and I'm like, oh, Nikki Glacier. Why? So basically that's what I was, with the region I was in the most and listening to. I thought that was kind of fun a little bit. So
that's funny. Oh man, the weird podcast moments I remember, like at my old house there was hanging Christmas lights. I remember exactly where I was in a specific podcast. Every year when I would get to the corner where it gets dicey, hanging the lights. But
I mean, hey, maybe there's somebody listening right now where, you know, you're off doing something fun and just think, unfortunately or fortunately, you'll remember us with it.
We're making those memories.
There you go.
That's what we're here for. We're back. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry we missed last week as I came down with a flu that was the only way I can describe it is that, like, my spirit left me. I was just unable to even, if you will.
So is it basically like in Conquest where your stamina just got down past 10%?
My stamina
mark?
was absolute zero stamina. Red bar. That's right. So I've been out of it for a few days. If I sound a little terrible right now, it's because I just got this little cough that won't leave now. So that's a fun development. When you're in your 40s, like, you get a cough and you just got that cough now. You know?
It's part of your life now. You just adapt and adopt, right?
Mm-hmm. But, you know, as I was messaging you last week and saying, hey, man, I can't do it. I am so sorry. And I knew it was going to be a thing where, like, we can't, like, reschedule this for tomorrow. I'm going to be out for a while. That's when the news hit that the game of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is drastically changing. Yeah. So, perfect timing, right? Anyways, here we are to pick up the pieces of what we missed last week. But first, we're gonna celebrate some blurf days. (11/22) is a pretty big blurf day in Galaxy of Heroes. It is the blurf day of ships.
Just ships.
Ships existing. Home One, Endurance, Executrix, and all their little friends.
How was that right at the beginning? What was that experience like? Was it?
It was chaos. For one thing, I was like number 3 on my fleet shard. Because it just, like, you get assigned a squad arena shard when you join the game, right? And it's other people who have just joined the game. Fleet arena, you had all these longtime players, and you just, like, I don't know, you're on this shard, you're on this one, and like, what place is everybody? I don't know, random. I started in, like, really high placement, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let's see if I can hold on here. And it's been a tumble down that hill ever since.
I mean, I like it when people leave, though, because then we can just You can always see pockets because then you just get to go up a little farther until
no one ever leaves mine.
In. Yeah,
my shards are like lifers, and I love that. I'll just hang out in the mid-20s.
I mean, that's where I am as well. And the funny part is like I think the shard that I got into because it was so much later on, they must have quit because I mean I'm top 20 and I still don't have a Leviathan, and I don't see really a lot of Leviathans in there. So thank you, shard. I appreciate it. Let's keep up the mediocrity in ships, please.
I would love it. All right, on the 23rd, we've got another big blurf day. It's Colonel Stark, Imperial Probe Droid, and Wampa, because it coincided with the launch of Hoth territory battles in 2017. So game comes out in 2015. Cool. We have a year of playing it, and then boom, ships?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. We have a year of playing that, and then boom, this territory battle? What? Big things in November, right? And then, like this year, the game... There's plenty of what?
Right? I mean...
It's hard to articulate exactly what has just happened.
Maybe
but there's definitely plenty of what?
Maybe they're thinking just at this point, like, so ships came in, and that's probably a big challenge, right? And then Hoth comes in, and it sounds like that was a challenge, too, because it was hard. And we know when it comes to... I'm going to not spoil it, but the next thing that comes out that we're going to talk about, like, it just seems like there's always something a little rough during that time period.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
So,
it's rough.
Happy birthday.
The 25th, we've got one for Arc Trooper and Kiadi Mundi from 2019. So that would have been Light Side Geonosis, I believe, right? Yeah. Dark Side Geonosis, I think. No, Light Side. Yeah, Light Side Geonosis territory battle. So, big stuff in the month of November. That's really where they're ambitious.
Ooh.
We get, obviously, the anniversary stuff every year, and then some years our world gets rocked.
So far, of these 4 that have happened, can you rank them for me? Of causing the most chaos or kind of hoopla?
Of the 2 different territory battles, ships, and this stuff. This stuff is number 1 for the chaos level. This current year, in the year of our Geonosian 2024, this is the highest level of chaos for sure.
Wow.
I wouldn't say it's the most ambitious.
No.
Because, I mean, like, the very first territory battle, that was a pretty crazy thing to see. We were very jazzed about that. And ships, honestly, the first time we saw ships, we were like, who did this?
Yeah.
Like, and why?
I mean, that's what I'm just thinking, though. Like, how crazy it would be if all of a sudden they just had speeder bikes just only. Just they knew.
Well, we saw that one.
Right? We did, right? But imagine if they had like that or equipment now. Oh, man. Pitchforks. I mean, it would be interesting. God. Unless it was a lot of fun, obviously. But
so that was a really fun Blurf Day segment. There's a lot of them in there. All right, let's take a look at this week's upcoming in-game events brought to you by swgohevents.com. For a complete list of past, present, and future events, swgohevents.com is a universe of info in a galaxy of heroes. There's going to be so many times tonight where my voice just does that. You heard it in there. Like, I got my water bottle here. We're getting through it. Now, on the 22nd, so this is a little messed up because I'm not even putting Galactic challenges in here anymore because 2 reasons. 1, they're not on the official calendar released by CG that is then crafted by swgohevents.com and then pickpocketed by us. So I'm not even putting them on there. You know, they were, Mondays and Fridays, and now they're Sundays and Thursdays or so. Like, they shifted them. Whatever. We'll get to that later. They start on Wednesday. Yeah, that's what it is now. So, anyways, that's fine. It's fine. We've got an Endurance Fleet Mastery on the 22nd. On the 23rd, we'll have Places of Power, as well as Smuggler's Run 2. On the 24th, look for Galactic Bounties 2. On the 25th, we've got an Omega Battle on Endor, as well as Territory Battle, Lightside, or Rise of the Empire. Then on the 26th, we've got Admiral's Maneuver. That is the Fleet Mastery for Radis. And on the 28th, we've got our Ghosts of Dathomir for little Thanksgiving spirit, I guess.
There you go, yes.
So it's not a
those are
huge
supposed to be the
calendar.
First ones that you can sim, too, right? I think...
Oh, is it?
I think so. So I guess it'll be something, I mean, I hope so, at least, but I'm going to have to look down the notes down the bottom, too, just in case, but...
I know these last couple days, people, as events pop up, are like, cool, I can't sim it.
I know. Not yet.
Soon enough. Okay, before we dive into the top stories, I want to give a quick shout out to our fantastic Patreon supporters. If you enjoy what we do and you want to be a part of our exclusive community, head over to patreon.com/Galactic War Report. Your support makes this podcast possible, and you even get access to the VIP section of our Discord, where you can chat with us and have our weekly Doth chat face-to-face. Zoom. Like, it's not Zoom. It's Discord. What am I talking? I think the flu's still got me.
I mean, but people understand Zoom, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like a Skype, you know. It's like a Google Plus kind of. Punch it, Pop-Tart.
Yes. Well, let's go in. Some of this is going to be past news, some of it's going to be new news, and some of it's going to be some kids today. So we have...
Some of it's going to be some just rotten news.
I know, right?
Too.
But I think that'll be something we can probably get going pretty soon on. But let's first
we will
start,
analyze. Yeah.
I know, right? Let's first start with some positives. In year 9, think about that, year 9 of this game. It is unbelievable that a mobile game has lasted as long as it has, and so huge shout out, right? I mean, 9 years. Now, what that does give us is a little bit of goodies. Now, again, I'm not going to go through each one because you already got it at this point, but the one that truly 100% matters, first off, is going to be, we got double drops
the friends
coming.
We made along. Oh, the double drops.
Oh, yes, definitely. So, yeah, it was almost jinx there. It was close. So it looks like double drops are going to be from 11/22 to 11/26. So if you are hoarding, man, you are almost there. Great time for those double drops. And I'll tell you what, feels like the regular drop rates are a little bit rough right now. I'm looking for that little bit extra.
If you're listening to this show and you are not a subscriber on Patreon, number one, how dare you?
Yes, right.
Number two, it's safe to start spending.
There you go. True.
Start spending.
Don't hoard it anymore if you're listening to this. So
anyone listening the day before on Patreon, give it one more day, please.
There you go. Right. Yes. But yes, that is a big piece to it. Now there's some calendars that were out there. Now the one thing that was kind of nice is just the store. I just wanted to gloss over this a little bit, just because again, you've had a chance right now to kind of go through to look at it. A couple of things that we have done in the past is like the special offers for like the anniversary troves. And I did take a look at a couple of those. You got the 8,000 if it's going to be used for, that's shard currency, right? Yeah, shard currency. And so it's weird to look at this and be like, man, I have most of these characters. But it's 8,000, so it's just, I don't really want to waste. But on the other side, I want to gamble. Did you gamble at all?
I see it now. I see it. No, I haven't. Let me see. Can it be anyone I need, or is it all like?
Well, it's looking at it wise. I mean, it's going to be stuff that you probably already have. I know for me, it's like there's a Hondo in there. There's Santa. Zori Bliss. Those are kind of the group. So, and then funny, I look over there. I'm like, what if I get a shorty? But I think majority of these.
I have them all.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going through and kind of having the new way of doing it where you're not really going backwards, you're really going to probably have most of these characters. But still.
Cool, though, for 8,000?
8,000? I mean, it's not too bad, because when you look at some of the other ones, and the other trove, which is going to be 145, that's 14,500 crystals. So, ouch. For 145,
Wait a second, $145?
No, sorry. What? 14,500. There you go. Yeah, here we go. It's 14,500 for the crystals, but it's 145 shards. So you're not even getting a full 330.
I see. I gotcha.
There you
okay.
go. And then they do have the 5,000 crystals as well, which is you have the dark side and the light side. But again, those are a lot of the older ones too. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe some folks out there had some crystals to burn, and maybe you got that 330 you were looking for. Or you just like seeing that 330, and there you go.
Yeah.
Now, looking at kind of some of the other stuff in there, we do have some Lightspeed bundles. And so for you folks that are really wanting to get some Ewoks up to Relic 3, guess what? You have an opportunity for the C-3PO event. That's $14. I think it's like $14.99. And then you also have your BB-8, which is also going to be part of the droid group, which is all come together. Those are a lot of those first orders up to Relic 5. So that one's at that $9.49, which honestly for me is wonderful. Yeah.
Love that. Yeah.
Now, there was some other ones where it's going to be gifting. I think there's certain ones that you can gift for in there. It looks like for myself here, I'm not seeing any of those in there now. So I think those might have gone. Now, it looks like there's another one that should be like for Empires, and which kind of get me a little bit. It's interesting because my Moff Gideon is Relic 3, and it can go up to 5. My Death Trooper is Gear 12. I mean, for $20, I'm sitting there going, all right, I'm probably getting 4. Now, again, that's going to be in the data mine, so it's not out there just yet. If you get a chance, go out to Swoga events there and news and that. But it really, there's some options for you. Anything for that store that really hit your fancy there?
No, I'm looking at it, and it's a bunch of stuff that I don't need. I don't know. It's kind of sad. I do have a lot of crystals, though, so I want to do something stupid.
See, but you got the double drops.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting about 8,100 crystals right now, so I'm just like, okay, I'm going to get a lot of signal data because I think I'm going to need that the most. And
yeah, that's a good point. With double drops, I need to get out of this store right now.
I know, that's a hard part. But again, you got kind of nice this year. The calendar ended up being a lot of Wookiees, so it was a little bit more than our 1 Chewie or 3 Chewie shards, which is kind of nice as a whole. So
yeah, no complaints about the free stuff this year.
So
sure.
I'm gonna just beat a little bit around the hedges here for a moment, and there's an update that came out, which we're gonna give it a second here to get to the real important stuff.
You might have noticed.
You might have noticed it. It looks a little bit different, but one thing that is nice is Shinhati is going to be on Dark Side 9C, so you can start to farm at this point for about a week. Now, something else that was kind of under the radar a little bit. Now, anytime we get some nice new characters come in the game, which we do have 2 of them that we can talk about tonight, but one of them is going to be Dark Side Ray Vision. Now with that, guess what? You gotta need a new face if you get a new Ray, right?
Yeah. You can't have the old Rays looking busted.
I know. So it looks like we got, 4 new faces out there. So if you're looking at your Galactic Legend and think, wow, why is she looking a little bit different today? Well, it's a little bit more based on the movie and a little bit less on on cartoons or whatever we're going to call those last
artist's
ones. But
interpretation.
There you go. I mean, I will say that it's nice anytime we get a touch up, especially, but if I was them, I'd throw it out there. Like, put it in the news. Like, this is a positive. Hey, go look at some Rey, right? Or
yeah. See what we did to Yaguro.
I know.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit before the show, that her face is different. And on some Reys, like, okay, let's just call it what it is. Jedi training Rey looked like a mess.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that was from what, 2017? 7 years ago? Like, they're a little better at making faces now. So that needed updating really badly. The other two Reys looked fine to me, right? I mean, I thought they were fine. So this did kind of throw me initially. And I'm looking at Galactic Legend Rey right now. And the more time I've had with it, the more I kind of come to the idea that, like, I think it's better. It looks more like Daisy Ridley. It's just like the initial shock, Yeah. It looks different, so it's worse. But is it? I don't know. It's kind of like what they keep doing with Anakin. Like, they just keep tinkering with it. And at a certain point, you're like, I don't even care what he looks like, man. Just leave him alone.
I know. Well, it's funny because it kind of feels like we have the dark side Rey, which is obviously, the heel. And then we have a very baby face Galactic Legend Rey. Like, she looks very, very young. But, hey, I mean, anything that's going to upgrade, she does look crisper across the board, so we will 100% take it. So,
and again, the big winner here is, because you can say, I like the old one, maybe the new one looks better, the consistency is definitely stronger, but the number one winner here is Jedi training Rey. Actually looks like Rey now.
I know.
So that's great.
It's the best of the three, in my opinion. I think she looks, it looks more normal.
Huge net win.
Yeah, definitely. All right. I think we better talk about this new change.
There's been a change?
Update. I know, right?
Yeah.
You haven't heard about this yet? Like, if you go on Reddit, if you go on, like, anywhere that's talking about, that I've gone so far to look to see, okay, what's happened in the game? There's a lot of conversations on this.
It's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of pitchforks.
Yeah.
And I understand that this is a lot for us to take in. It's a lot. Before we get into it, let me just say that.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in visually and play style and, like, looking at the actual balancing the numbers, right? It's a heck of a lot. So the fact that people are kind of up in arms about some of this stuff isn't a huge surprise, because you're moving someone's cheese, right?
Yeah.
And people don't like it when their cheese gets moved. And this cheese is zipping all over the holotable. So whether it's better or worse, shaking it up this much is just going to ruffle feathers.
Yeah.
So let me say that first before we kind of get into it. But the big crux of it, basically, is that for 9 years this game has been out, and they've been releasing content that, sometimes is really kind of a themed thing, like the Naboo raid, right? Because that coincides with the release of the Gungans and Queen Amidala and Stat and all these things. So it's like a episode 1 anniversary, 25th anniversary thing, right? And it's very intentional. And then sometimes just Zori Bliss comes out. And that's it. Moving on, and that's fine. The game can move like that, but I think what this update does is a couple things. It tries to put some sort of structure into how they move forward. So that's why we have eras now, right? And these eras are broken down into, oh God, it goes eras down into seasons, down into episodes. Yep. Is that okay? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you did good.
And so like it'll all kind of go together and make sense, and they're kind of forcing it with Ahsoka, because it's like kind of the end of the Ahsoka content is coming out now, right? Mm-hmm. We got Balin's Skull, Ahsoka's coming soon. I think all the other marquees are out.
Nope, one more.
Oh, there's one more?
Yeah, there's gonna be one more.
Oh, Hera.
That's
right.
So Hera, which again I'm stoked about. So
I'm fine with that. Yep. It's so anyways, they're trying to make it more consistent and more streamlined, and that is all good, and no one's complaining about that. The other half of what they're doing is really, really strictly monetizing things.
Yeah.
And that's the part that that's the part that is the most confusing, because we can all understand, like, okay, so 3 months, and then you break it down to a month apiece, and like that's doable. What's harder is all this like economy talk, and like, are we getting less than we used to, or do we just feel like we're getting less than we used to because we know that there's more out there?
I mean, that's a great question. And I think that's where a lot of people, we've seen a lot of, different individuals like go through and break them down and show that technically you can get through that whole tiered, which again, but on the other side of it, when you know that, it's like we got Christmas coming up, right? So if you look over and your brother or your sister is opening a bike, and you're getting some underwear, that's kind of that mentality where even though you may need that underwear, right, like, it's not a bike, or it's just, for a lot of it, and again, I understand, like, when it comes to this, it's a 9-year-old game at this point. I think about, they got some bills, right, and they have a lot that they have to do with this, and I understand that piece. It just is so interesting to kind of see this, to go through, to see the differences. And I think before we knew that certain whales and certain people are going to get more, but we couldn't see it as much. It's like now we can see it. And there's like 3 different levels of it, right? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty blatant. Just as a quick time capsule, I'm on Reddit right now. Okay, the Galaxy of Heroes Reddit. And here's the top headlines. 1, next GC feats leaked. And it's beat it with Rebel fighters, credit card information, CVV. Like, all right, so obviously that's whatever. That's funny. But we have open letter to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes development team. We have so disappointed by the new update and battle pass. Been playing since 2016 but thinking about quitting. We have 2024 has been a bad year for the game. And it goes on. This update may ruin the game for me. It goes on and on. Is this the end? I think we're actively watching the death of this game. Blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't say Reddit is normally a place to go to get reasoned takes anyways.
Yeah.
But right now, it's really, really like I would be cautious to put too much stock into what people are saying on Reddit. It's a lot of reactionary talk, and I think I think it's fine to feel bad about it. I feel bad about it because it's changed in a way that feels kind of I don't want to say creepy, but cringy. Maybe that's it. Yeah, I don't know. And this is from someone, I bought the pass. I bought the episode pass, the first one. So I didn't upgrade to the VIP pass because I ain't that rich. But like I'm gonna try it out. I see, like I spend on the game sometimes, and like I've been playing it for 10 years, so I don't feel like morally I can't put money into this game. No, I can, you know. So I'm trying it out. I'll see if it feels... So far, it feels like a good investment. If you're going to spend money, like, that's a pretty smart $20. You get a lot of rewards out of it.
Yeah.
Now, not everyone can. I get that.
It's one of those things where if it's going to be... I mean, if we're looking at the timeline... And so what they're expecting is basically an era is going to be every 3 months. So if you're looking at this as $20 a quarter, $100 a year to have a battle pass, again, it's realistic compared to other games. I mean, you're going to go out. We went duck bowling the other day, and it was $30. So that's one night compared to I'm going to be playing this game for every single day. So that's how I tell myself if I spend any money that...
But then you've also got conquest passes.
I know.
And then you've also got those little surprise ascension packs. And then you also got, you know, I mean, like, it adds up.
But the hard part is like you're basically paying to get where you were previously. And I think that's a huge challenge. It's like someone that is consistently getting the red crates for the Galactic challenges. You are basically paying to ensure that you are going to get almost the same exact amount of rewards. And again, it's probably going to be ahead in some cases. You know, I think on my side of it, I think about the mods, like the mod material. That's going to be big for me. It's going to be more. But really, when you think about this, like also too for the shards, I'm going to get a lot less shards. You're basically also too paying for that $20 for that shard shop currency. It just, I think that's the part where you whatever the Chris Kringle, I don't know what we want to say, another K and C word for this, but it just feels like it really, people have to come out of this with more than just getting what they got previously and having to spend $40, $20 to do that. It's cringy.
Yeah, I just think it's, I mean, according to them, if you go free to play, at the end of the day, in this or the old structure, you'd get about the same rewards. And, like, on the surface, that's like, all right, cool. But I keep going back to, it's the way the game feels. So if you see those other rewards that you cannot have, then it feels like they're being taken away from you. And I'm not saying people are wrong for being upset about it because it's dangled right in their face, you know?
Well, it's the prime example of that is right now I don't have I probably won't buy the pack. I just think for me this really makes me want to go free to play other than if it's not real money, which is like for my work, as I was saying to you earlier, like my work is rewarding me in Apple gift cards. Heck yeah, I'm going to put that into the game. Yeah. That's not real money, even though I'm technically paying taxes on it, but let's not talk about this. But on the other side of it, like if I'm looking at this quest pack for the character packs, right now I have, I mean, all but one of them on the top tier. I mean, if I was able to hit that button to pay for it, or to get them up to 120 shards, I'd be able to get a decent amount of these event currency on all three of the character side of it. And it's frustrating, I guess, for me looking at it going, I'm just not going to get these. I did it, right? So I've done it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get these unless unless I'm hoping, right? So maybe that they'll bring this back multiple times. So then I do get these as I start to grind. But if this doesn't show up again, I earned it. I just didn't give those 3 numbers on the back of the credit card so I could actually get it into where it needs to go.
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah.
Not nice.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they could have implemented this differently to make it feel less separating the haves and have-nots, you know? As someone who bought it, I still feel like, am I going to buy this every time? You know? Like, I don't know.
No, I will say that this is not going to change whether or not I play the game or not, you know, to be honest, because at this point, I haven't even played it as long as you have, but, I mean, when I look back on kind of the challenges that I've gone through in the time period of this, I've also had a ton of just, dang, this game makes me feel good. And
sure.
When I weigh kind of that 2 pieces out to it, and again, one thing I did today, I actually tried harder in the Galactic Challenge than I have in a while because I have a reason to do it. I mean, so...
Because you're better.
I know, right? I gotta.
Yeah.
But here's the thing is, I think at some point, they got me a little bit by probably shouldn't say that, but they got me by something because I'm still going to turn this game on in the morning.
Right by the gun dart.
There you go. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to that web store. I'm going to press those couple buttons. I'm still going to come home and go onto the PC client, press the button to get that extra stuff, and hopefully never miss any type of energy. So they got me. But on the other side of it, it's still in the long run. I still think there's way more positive than negative, even in this situation.
Yeah. Now let's also add that I think we already did. Yeah. I was going to say they also made things simmable.
Yeah. Not yet.
Like there's so much else baked into this update. This is what everyone's talking about because this is the biggest head scratcher of all the stuff.
Yeah, there's so much that came in with this. Like even with what is the next era going to be? And right now we're in the era of apprentices, which is really cool. So they talked about, we got one more marquee, which is going to be Hera. And again, I just am really looking forward to it. I actually started to rewatch Ahsoka this week, just for fun. But then when you look at the next phase, the era of the Cavalry, I mean, we're going to get 5 new marquees for Bad Batch, which basically means we're going to have a whole new series. So, sorry.
An even worse batch.
I know, right? Like, I mean, with the power creep on things we're going to have probably, hopefully, a pretty decent team. And who knows, maybe Crosshair is finally going to show up.
I would think so.
I would hope so. I mean...
You'd think it's got to be Hunter, Echo, Wrecker, and then Crosshair and grown-up Omega.
Well, there's a little bit of talk about maybe Asajj in there, too. So where does that fit into?
Conquest.
Could be. So,
I don't know. We'll see.
Speaking of Conquest and Galactic Legends, how does this fit into here? Really, it's going to sometimes fit. It's something not going to. It's going to be just like the fact that you said, like Zori just showed up one time for December when they went on vacation. So, I mean, it may be that case, too. But... again, it's. I think the era part is kind of fun as a whole to kind of see where we're going to be, and if it really is going to be, we know there's going to be 5 in that time period. We know it's going to be. So most likely there was going to be some type of character that's going to have to unlock with a 5, maybe just like what they did with Balin. I mean, it does feel like there is getting more of a structure and a schedule to it. Now, daily activity stuff. This is something that's a little bit of a change. Obviously, you've seen it. Now, for me, not trying to be bad, but my app didn't work for both of anything for most of that day. So that was kind of a tough thing. So
I forgot that was an issue. I didn't have that issue, but
2 battles in for so it is what it is. Now, the one thing I do like on this is that it actually shows what you need to get for your guild. That 600 out of 600 is right there, right when you go into it.
That's way easier.
Yeah, I like the look. I do like the fact that you don't have to do both ships and regular now. It is really nice on that. Now, again, it looks good, but it does feel weird to add another currency in there too, right? Just for me to complete my daily stuff. Now, the other side of it, I'm glad they did that, because if you are somebody that's going to be every single day logging on, you got to get those 300 at a pop, and so it makes a lot of sense. And at this point, there's not, hey, you have to put in those 6 digits just to get 300 as well. So we will take that 100%. And it doesn't look like the prize box. There's really anything that's going to change too much. They just added in some of those for you. Again, not the end of the world. I do like it has just use 600 energy, so it doesn't matter which one it is. So that's really cool as well.
Yep. That is excellent.
So those are the big pieces to those sides of it. Let me see if there's anything else in here too. So
I was just looking at the Pass Plus.
Yeah.
And because I couldn't remember what the heck it did. It just gives you 50,000 episode points and 10 milestones on the episode track. And the claim these rewards instantly. I think that's just the stuff that would be on the track.
Yeah, so you just get it right off the bat. Now, the one thing that is good, though, is that last when you finish, it sounds like there's going to be a different note on there that you can continue to keep on getting. Now, I think that one gets it, I think 10 more times than the 20 pass. So you're going to get a ton more currency. I think both of these, the 20 and the 40, both of them are going to get a huge amount of those points. And you really could end up being pretty far ahead on there. And I do think we all like the a la carte type of being able to pick your rewards. But on the other side of it, like especially on the ones that were like Jedi, it was really nice just to get all of our Omicrons and not have to weekly go in there to make sure that we're spending that. Because that, unfortunately, is capped at the 30,000 as well. So that means there's not going to be...
I do have to go in there and figure out what I'm spending on, because I haven't even looked at it.
It's like when you get a raid done. I mean, I have to make sure before I get the raid done, okay, get all my, I don't want to lose any of these points especially, and it's going to get to a point where we know we're going to be sitting there waiting for that next Omicron as a whole.
Yeah, we're just spending this on Omicrons, right?
It seems that way.
I'm pulling the trigger right now.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
It's, we'll make it work with this store. I mean, I don't mind. I do like the guild currency piece to it. I do think that's helped out a lot. And I do feel like it's getting a little bit easier to go from up to gear 12. It's even getting easier going to 13 a tiny bit. And I think because of that store, which is kind of nice.
All right, well, let's move along. Talk about some of these new kits.
Yeah, definitely. So who do you want to start with today?
Start with Rey. Dark Side version.
See,
nasty.
Do you
Rey.
feel like this is something where, they gave us the bad and then like, hey, here's a Rey.
Totally.
Very sweet, by the way. I absolutely love this kit. I love the fact that she's going to be, first order help, helping out. It's going to make that team. And Kylo already is a beast. So it does feel like a little bit of a Band-Aid.
It's interesting because people I've seen people say I want the dark side Rey or whatever, when they teased her in the trailer and people are like, she's turning to the dark side, and everyone gets so excited. And I'm glad that people get excited, but I don't. I'm like, no, she's the hero. I don't need her to be a bad guy. But after reading the kit and seeing kind of what she's going to do to the game, I'm pretty excited. I think she is going to be very cool. And also her kit is not absurd.
No, it's not too bad at all.
Is absurd. So she is actually Sith and First Order, which I think is interesting. Because she's not even a real It's all made up. Whatever. Okay, so her basic is called Surrender to Darkness. Deal physical damage twice to target enemy. This attack ignores 50% protection. If the enemy had full health or protection up at the start of this attack again. Max 3 attacks total. On her turn, if she deals at least 3 instances of damage, target enemy is feared for 1 turn. Feared is just funny.
I like that.
I'm feared, which cannot be resisted. Her first special is called Corrupted Reflection. This is a cooldown of 4, and you deal physical damage to all enemies, then attack target enemy again if there is a defeated enemy. First Order allies gain Retaliate and Retribution for 2 turns. If Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the leader, he gains 10% ult charge. Love that. And then Special 2 is Malevolent Lineage. Deal true damage to all enemies, split among them. If all allies are First Order and there's any version of Kylo Ren in the leader slot, shock all enemies for 1 turn, and he is called to assist. Then other non-taunting First Order allies, not in the leader slot, gain stealth for 1 turn. If Slicker is the ally in the leader slot, he gains 5 siphon per enemy and 100% defense for a turn. While in Grand Arenas, that shock can't be dispelled or resisted. Enemies defeated by this can't be revived, and remove 100% turn meter from all characters. Enemies with bonus protection, protection up, or shield up reduce their max health and max protection by 20%, stacking, excluding Galactic Legends and raid bosses, for the rest of the encounter. And if there's any version of Kylo in the leader slot, all First Order allies recover 50% health and protection and gain speed up for 2 turns. That's nuts.
Yeah.
There's no healing on First Order. So that will definitely be welcome. And then she has a couple of uniques. One is Don't Be Afraid of Who You Are. And it is Rey has plus 25% crit chance and crit damage. Her abilities can't be evaded. While Rey has Retaliate, she recovers protection at the end of turn equal to 100% of the damage she received. While Rey is debuffed, she has plus 50% speed. If Rey defeats an enemy, excluding summons, all allies defeated by that enemy are revived with 100% health. Whenever an enemy without 100% turn meter gains bonus turn meter, reduce their max protection by 5%, 10% if it was a bonus turn, excluding Galactic Legends and raid bosses, for the rest of the encounter, and persists through defeat. Then while in Grand Arenas, this girl's got 3 Omicrons, by the way.
Mm-hmm. And only 2 moves.
I know, it just seems crazy.
Yeah.
All other First Order allies with Retaliate recover protection at the end of the turn equal to 100% of the damage they received. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
First Order allies with advantage ignore taunt effects on their turn. If the ally in the leader slot is Supreme Leader Kylo, whenever he enters aggressive stance, the cooldown of Malevolent Lineage is reset. That's going to be nuts. And then Unique 2 is In Our Nature. This is if all allies are First Order at the start of the battle, she gains 100% max health. At the start of the encounter, if the ally in the leader slot is any version of Kylo, Rey is untargetable until all enemies have taken a turn or are defeated. Whenever an enemy is defeated, all characters lose 100% turn meter, and all First Order allies gain advantage for 2 turns. Enemies with less than full health have minus 200% crit avoidance. Whenever an enemy with less than 100% health recovers to full health, they dispel all buffs on themselves. And then while in Grand Arenas, while she's untargetable from this ability, First Order allies can't be defeated. While an enemy is less than full health, they can't recover protection. Whenever a First Order ally is inflicted with a debuff, they lose 1% turn meter and gain 1% offense stacking for the rest of the encounter. So that's just nuts.
I know. The kit is just crazy.
It'll be interesting to try it. But it feels like it just takes the one weakness of First Order and says, it's not a weakness anymore.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, and just, I think that, Kylo has been used to attack. And now it seems like a defense is going to be interesting. And to be honest, I was listening to somebody else, or I think I was reading somewhere, what if you put this on not a Slicker team? Like, what if now you have two?
Huh.
Because if you have two Omicrons or three Omicrons with her, and then another one for Pilot, because he doesn't work with Slicker, but he can work with the other Kylo.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Man. It's weird. It's weird. I guess, I don't know. I have mixed feelings about even giving Slicker a lifter, because he almost always just kind of gets the job done, right?
Well,
so, I don't know.
We talked about it earlier a little bit, and when Ahsoka comes in, something's got to beat Ahsoka. And it just kind of feels like, hey, here we go. 3 months from now, this might be what's going down, right?
Yeah, could be. Looks powerful. I'll say that. It looks powerful.
Oh, yeah.
So, better than having whatever fifth First Order chump you were putting in your Slicker lineup.
I know, right?
You could take one of them out and pop this in there. You could. Yeah, jeez. Okay, what else do we have? We have Hu Yang, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
This one was right before, so that we would have went over this last week. Actually, would have we done both? I think both would have been there, too.
We might have done them both.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah. So Hu Yang is already out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think he's okay. I don't know. I haven't really done that much with him, even though I bought the pass and got him all his quests. I'm just like, I'll keep throwing him in random battles and unlocking things, I guess.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the fact that you had to pay for the... I thought I was just getting stuff in general, so I actually put him in Galactic War and was doing it, but, again, then when I went in there to collect, I'm like, guess I should have read that a little bit more, so...
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love the character, though, and it's he's voiced by David Tennant. I love David Tennant.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm here for it. No regrets about getting that pass. Okay, so his basic is called Droid Pugilist. Deal physical damage to target enemy and expose them for 1 turn. If it's Hu Yang's turn and the target had stagger, stun him for a turn as well. Special auxiliary grapplers. This is deal physical damage to target enemy and Spectre allies gain speed up for 1 turn. Deal an additional instance of damage for each other light side droid ally or ally with exile at the start of the battle. This ability gains 10% damage per active Spectre ally. Inflict a stack of off balance to target enemy for 1 turn. For each ally that has removed exile this battle, which can't be copied or evaded. Then there's only a couple others. Stay together. This is a territory battle Omicron. Oh my goodness. Call all light side allies to assist. Then, if there are 2 or more light side droid or specter allies, the strongest ally and weakest ally gain advantage, damage immunity, and offense up for 1 turn, and tenacity up for 3 turns. Otherwise, light side droid and specter allies recover 100% health and protection. If either the strongest or weakest other ally has exile, they gain 75 speed for 1 turn instead. And then while in territory battles, dispel all ally debuffs and enemy buffs. All light side allies recover 50% health and protection. Spectre allies recover an additional 50% health and protection. And reduce all ally light side droids and specters cooldowns by 1. Light side droids and spectre allies gain 25% defense penetration stacking for the rest of the battle and 20% turn meter.
That one
seems decent.
But at this point, when it comes to territory battles, you gotta wow us, man. I mean, think about what they've done with...
One thing I would say here, though, is you're going to need him, Ahsoka, Sabine, Hera. You're going to need this whole team at Relic 7. So, like, you're already able to play half of territory battle with this team. So, maybe on new teams like this that require everyone at high relics, I look at them and I'm like, okay, so this one has a chance. Kyle Katarn, I'm not going to do it. I know it's good. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to relic all those guys up to do that mission. I just don't. So, okay, yeah, and then one last one, Lightsaber Architect. This is the big one. At the start of the battle, Jedi allies gain 21% max protection. Light side droid allies gain 34% crit damage. And Spectre allies gain 55% offense until the end of the battle. If the ally in the leader slot is Spectre and a Galactic Legend at the start of battle, ally Jedi, any Ahsoka Tano, and Padawan Sabine Wren gain Jedi lessons for 3 turns at the start of their first turn. If they had Jedi lessons whenever Hu Yang gains any version of History of the Galaxy, the duration is reset to 3 turns. If a light side ally evades an attack or resists a debuff, light side droids gain 5% crit damage and 5% offense, stacking max 100 till end of battle. And the first time that an ally's Spectre loses exile, Hu Yang gains History of the Galaxy Part 1 for the rest of the battle. Whenever he gains any version of History of the Galaxy, ally Spectres gain 50% bonus protection for 2 turns. And when he gains Part 3, reset the cooldown of Stay Together. So that's a lot, right? Mm-hmm. But what's Part 1? While he has History of the Galaxy Part 1, ally Jedi, any Ahsoka Tano, and Padawan Sabine Wren gain Force Connection, max 10 stacks, whenever they use a basic ability until the first time he's defeated. Whenever a second ally Spectre loses exile for the first time, this ability upgrades to Part 2. And while he has Part 2, remove the max stack limit. Whenever ally Jedi, Ahsoka Tano, and Padawan Sabine Wren gain Force Connection. If there were 5 Spectre allies at the start of battle and there are no allies with exile, this upgrades to Part 3. And while he has History Part 3, all Jedi, Ahsoka, Padawan Sabine, gain Force Connection whenever they use an ability until the first time Hu Yang is defeated. So, a lot going on. He's kind of the backbone of the Spectre team. He works with light side droids. That's kind of what they force you to do it with, and it's fairly effective, honestly.
He feels a little bit like, I mean, just a powerful droid. I mean, that's the only way they can kind of say it. And like, I mean, if he does hit well, is he going to be the damage dealer for Ahsoka? It's going to be interesting to kind of see her kit and how that plays into it, and is he as good as maybe like a Dark Trooper? Because I feel like Dark Trooper is absolutely wonderful, and that was on a more powerful team. Imagine what that would be, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he is an attacker, but he does a lot of support stuff, too, as far as just amping up the offense for the rest of the team is huge, as well as healing. So, we have most of the team now. We just got to see what your girl does.
Yep. I mean, Hera, it's going to be interesting because, Hera she's support, right? So,
yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see what this next one is. Now, one last thing that kind of came from this as well that we kind of missed a second ago is you're going to have something called the Kessel Run. And it looks like now there is a 5% discount on using the store online. And it looks like they're going to be changing that as a whole. And so instead of having the 5% off, they're going to be using a reward system. Now, this reward system, really there's some good things with it. Really it's about logging into the web store every single day, completing your daily quest, and then also to making your shipment purchases, which again is just part of your quest in most cases. Now, looking at this, it's kind of interesting, but what's coaxium? That's a great question, right?
What is it in
what's it in the
Star
game?
Wars?
Yeah.
I think it's like a fuel or something.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look at this going, okay, so what do we earn? What do we get, right? So, but basically what you're doing is you're using that, and so as you log in, you're getting a certain amount of those. And again, with any reward system, the more you do it, the better it's going to be. And then it looks like it's a 28-day period for it. Now, what is this coaxium? What can you get, right? So there's some credits, there's some energy, there's crystals, there's some credits again on there. So again, it's just another scenario where you continue to do this, you get some rewards, right? And the more that you buy, obviously, the more rewards that you get. So again, this is good for people that are just doing it free to play and getting that extra little tidbits. On the other side of it, if you are a spender, guess what? Maybe now you're going to have an opportunity to maybe earn a little bit more out there just for the fact that you are going through and spending some money on the game.
Yeah. We'll see. And that starts tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yep.
Yeah, as we record. So it will be already large and in charge by the time this comes out. I hope you like it, everybody. I hope it's everything you dreamed of. Yeah. All right, that's it, man. I think that's the game.
Yeah.
That's Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I do want to give one little plug for the Gungies. I got roped into being on the committee.
Ooh.
I'm not just a guy who knows a guy. I'm on the committee. Wow. So, the Gungies, big ridiculous award show that we're working on for Galaxy of Heroes creators, as well as for the game itself. Its aim is to bridge the gap between CG and content creators in a fun way, not in a we need to heal because the game's in a bad place. Not like it's not that. It's also not like us trying to get free stuff or whatever. It's just, look, you guys make a game. We play the game. We all love the game. Let's have some fun with that. And at least that's, I don't know, maybe the rest of the committee is like, dude, that's not it. But that's how I see it. So anyways, I'll put a link in. There were some preliminary ballots in the last episode we released. But I'll put a link in the show notes for this episode, and you can just click it. It takes you into a Google form. I know some people are weird about filling out Google forms. If you are, but if you want to vote, that's how we do it. And yeah, voting closes December 7th. So get those suckers in, and let's have a good time, man. We're going to stream it sometime late December, early January, something like that. And just give some awards out to some people that make some fun stuff.
Nice.
So, before we roll the credits here, it's been a couple weeks, man. We got to know, who you grinding?
Man, I mean, we've got to add to this list in the last little bit too, right? So this is great. Now,
Yeah?
CG, I would love for you to just say, hey, for the anniversary, let's give you some Jar Jars. But they didn't. So we are still patiently waiting for a Jar Jar to come back. So we're ready on that phase. Now, it is kind of nice on the Ahsoka front. My Death Trooper went from 35 out of 85 up to 29 out of 100. Really looking forward to these double drops. Now, Enoch was pretty decent for this time period. He went from 7 out of 85 up to 70. 7 out of 85 up to 70 out of 85.
Nice.
Now, my Night Trooper, I've been focusing so much just on my Great Mothers that I really haven't had that much signal data, so they only went up 1, or it. Relic 4 to Relic 5, so that is getting closer as a whole. Now, I did get to add on here Pad Sabine, she's ready to go, and then Hu Yang is there. So again, now with Pad, she went from, I think she was Gear 3 up to Gear 10, so she should be ready to go here in just in a moment. I think I have one more. I'll tell you what, these Kairos does feel like it's getting a little bit easier. I mean, it really feels like I'm only farming Kairos, but we're getting there, so.
Yep, I've been through this before where it used to be this way with stun guns. It used to be this way with stun cuffs. And, like, it eases up and something else will stop you. But still, somehow it feels good to know that that stupid thing's not the problem anymore. Right. Now I've got a new problem.
I mean, I'd rather have it be in relic materials, to be honest, than in just gear. I don't know why, but it feels better. I mean, it doesn't feel ever good to spend like crystals on just so you can get other stuff that you're just going to throw away. It's like going to get your groceries and either way. But we've had enough tangent for today. Now, really. Shinhati, she was farmable just this week, so she went from 15 out of 30 up to 25 out of 30, and then she got up to Gear 8. Cairo stops that from happening anytime soon, so when I'm done with Sabine, we'll move on to her. Now, Great Mothers, we went from 54 out of 65 up to Gear 12, almost Gear 13, so
oh man,
we are about ready, and I'm looking forward to that team. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to the Night Sisters on there, so that's great. I ended up giving 2 of Zetas for Great Mother as well, so they are getting a little bit beefy, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So
there's 3 of them though that got to fight over those 2 Zetas.
I guess so. Now with that, Datacrons did end up. I like my Datacrons group. I got my Grand Inquisitor. That was great on defense. I think we got 4 holds with that one. Starkiller is a beast. I love that Datacron. It's just really nice to attack, continue to attack. He seems like he's dropping that that ship in just in a moment, which is great.
Drop that thing.
Right. Django, weirdly enough. I'm going to check that out. That was a pretty cool one. He reflects some true damage, so I got that one on there. And then Malicos is also great. That got me 3 holds on defense. And then lastly, I have 8th Bro. Thanks for that 20% chance to do absolutely nothing.
Oh, God. It's so bad.
But we got a 9 on that one. So even though it's 2 weeks, it didn't feel like a lot, but Great Mother's getting done. I won't lie. I feel like that feels pretty good,
Yeah.
Then I can start working on signal data. It's perfect timing to get into, double drop. So,
yeah.
So I got to know, after the tough week with the flu and all of that, who you grinding?
I've been grinding Dayquil is what I've been grinding. Oh, man. I've had visions. I'm not even kidding. When I go to bed on NyQuil, I have visions, and it's like I'm in VR, and it's the weirdest thing. And I'm not abusing. I swear I'm not. But just
how many bottles a day are you doing at this point?
These cold medicines have always just messed me up.
Wow.
It's so weird. I won't drive on it. No way. All right. So I'm not on it right now, for the record. The one where the gang does drugs. No. Let's see. My Ahsoka farm. Let's see. Fulcrum went from Relic 7 up to 9. Done.
That's great.
Just give me Ahsoka. I'll keep Relic 9ing all these things.
Right? Here you go.
Give me my friggin' Galactic Legend. Night Trooper has gone from Relic 1 up to Relic 4. Just as I get stuff, I do it. Death Trooper Peridia, the Nibbler, has gone from 67 out of 85 up to 29 out of 100.
Ooh, we're tied.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Captain Enoch, 16 up to 57 out of 85. That feels like it's taking a year, at least.
It does.
And then we got Padawan Sabine. Hu Yang's at 20 out of 65 because I bought the pass. So, like, go me, I guess. And then Great Mothers I'm working on. 40 out of 65 up to 12 out of 100. And Shin I have gotten up to 29 out of 30. So almost there. Ezra, I unlocked him. I took him up to Relic 1. And he's just going to hang out there for a minute. I normally do 3, but he's
you did 3, actually.
I don't think so.
I could be wrong, but
oh my God,
I was snooping earlier and I thought I saw that you were 3. Maybe.
I think I left him at 1.
Did you?
Because I just don't have the signal data, and I got to finish Great Mothers. Everyone wants signal data. Not everyone can have signal data.
Yeah, you're Relic 3.
So, he is 3?
He is 3.
I took him to 3. Look at me. Well, all right.
I mean, that Dayquil, I'm telling you, you're going to wake up after doing Dayquil and having your Ugnaught to Relic 9.
Someone who is not Relic 3 is Night Sister Initiate. She's Relic 2, though. Look at that. I thought she was 1. I took her to Relic 2 because she was Gear 12. And I was about to unlock Ezra, and I was like, I'm not going to say I was doing the math, because I don't do the math. But I was looking at the numbers and like almost doing math, and I was like, I really have a lot of gear right now. A lot of gear. Let's just do Night Sister Initiate. Why not? And so she's at Relic 2. I'll bump her up to 3 soon. I mean, my goal is to get every character into Relics that is not a brand new character. And as it stands, there's only 9 characters in the game that I don't have at Relics. Besides, people I don't have at 7 stars. So that's my little stupid game that I'm playing. For Zetas, speaking of stupid games, I gave Tarful his second Zeta. It's all in the fur. So, I'm just, I don't know. I have these weird little checklists that I have to check off. And people are learning a lot about me tonight. A lot of dark things. I need therapy. And then when Hu Yang came out, I didn't have enough to give him all his Zetas. So he has 1 Zeta. And these are the things I do to myself. I don't know. That's all we got for you this week. It may not be the best advice, but at least we didn't recommend you manage your Zeta supply like I do. If you want to continue the conversation, join our Discord server. It's linked in the show description. Become a real live Jawa by supporting us on Patreon, and share your thoughts by leaving us a podcast review. Big thanks also go out to Pabuapa and swgoh.gg and swgohevents.com for providing all the hard data we misinterpret weekly. Thanks for tuning in, and may the Force and RNG be with you.